across the Asia Pacific region. All right. At this juncture, I am giving the floor to my fellow training and webinar coordinator, Mr. Sai Prashant, to introduce our first speaker. Handing over to you, Prashant. Go ahead, Prashant. Please introduce our first speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone, to all the people who are attended. Thank you for the opportunity. I take this privilege to introduce Dr. Mamiko Inamori, who is the Associate Professor in Taketo University, Japan, and who is also the IEEE Region 10 Student Activities Committee Awards Coordinator and Chair of IEEE Tokyo Sin E2C Women Engineering Affinity Group. Ms. Mamiko is an Associate Professor and has been serving on the IEEE Japan Council and Tokyo section for more than 10 years. She is also the chair of IEEE Tokyo Sin E2C Women in Engineering Affinity Group. Now I request ma'am to take over the session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you see my slide here? Everybody, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you for the introduction. I'm so glad to hear. Thank you for gathering today, and I'm so happy to have this opportunity. So today's my talk is about introduction to IEEE Region 10 SAC and MGA Student Award. I'm Mamiko Inamori, Region 10 SAC Award Coordinator, as well as Jocelyn. She must be here. And I'm also the chair of IEEE Tokyo Shin-Etsu WIE, which is newly formed in last July. So let's move on to the next slide. So first of all, I will introduce IEEE Region 10 SAC Student Award. So this is the latest data of Region 10. So you can look at the numbers. The number of student branches in Region 10 is almost half of student branches in IEEE. So under this Region 10, we have 2 SAC awards. So student awards are created to recognize and reward the efforts of tireless volunteer and teams, as you know. So we have Region 10 SAC Outstanding Volunteer Award and Region 10 SAC Outstanding Student Branch Award this year. So first, I will introduce Region 10 Outstanding Volunteer Award. This award is to recognize the work done by an individual IEEE member to service to members and increase the student membership by conducting activities beneficial to student members. Eligibility are the nominee should be an IEEE member of any grade registered under the particular section in Region 10, where he or she is nominated. The individual should have made substantial contribution to student activities. The individual should not have received the same award in past 3 years. You have to check in 3 years. So you can get a plaque, 1 year of complimentary membership, basic membership only in IEEE, and cash prize $300. So that's good number. So no changes for this year, so you can check the website. Still not updated yet, but you can check the some eligibility or nomination conditions as well. And Region 10 Outstanding Student Branch Award. The purpose is to recognize a student branch that has conducted quality events, workshop, projects, etc. for the benefit of students. Eligibility are any IEEE student branches within Region 10 is eligible to contest for this award. Outstanding initiatives and performance in organized activities. This student branch must not have received the same award in the past 5 years. 5 years here. The student branch must have successfully organized at least 4 activities in a year for its members. So if you have 4 activities, you can apply this award. The winning student branch will receive an award plaque and $300. So no changes for this year as well. So you can check the website. So this is the statistics on Region 10 Student Award submissions. From last year, Region 10 SAC does not distinguish member and student for volunteer award. For student award of last year, student branches in Bangladesh, Malaysia, Bangalore, Kerala, Madras, Sri Lanka, Bombay, Hyderabad, and graduate sections applied. And then finally, the Panimala Institute of Technology student branches in Madras section got student branch award. Congratulations. And we more numbers, so please submit your applications. So what to submit for this award? Submission of nomination documents will be through an online system. Region 10 SAC Outstanding Volunteer Award should have completed an endorsed nomination document, which can download from our website soon. So you need a referee report as well. This is optional and should be in the form of recommendation letter. And Region 10 SAC Outstanding Student Branch Award, you need completed and endorsed nomination documents as well as the Outstanding Volunteer Award. You can download the application sheet from the website soon. So student branch member account from OU Analytics is necessary too. And then you need a student branch annual plan from V2. And you need a referee report as well. It's optional, but and should be in the form of recommendation letter. So you need to have hard work, but we are waiting for the submissions. And then you can check the nomination conditions. Like a candidate must have endorsement by the respective section chair for his or her nomination to be considered valid. A candidate who is a student or a graduate student member shall obtain endorsement from the student branch counselor or section student activity committee chair. So you have to website. Be careful. From the chair of a student branch with support evidences of branch's achievement against section-based given. And the respective student branch counselor or section SAC chair must give an endorsement to the nomination with supporting comments. So this is a very important part, timeline for R10 Student Award this year. So call for nomination starts next month or 1st. And the closing date is 1st May. So you have to check the schedule. And then judging period and processing of awards and announcement of results are given by like this slide. Improvements and updates for next IEEE Student Award in next year's February. So a lot of information here. So please check the website. But I'm sorry, not updated yet. So please be patient, and we will update next week. So next, I will introduce IEEE MGA Global Student Award. So they have 4 awards. So I introduce little by one by one. So first, Lolly K. Wilson Regional Student Volunteer Award. So nominees must be student members of IEEE at the time of the accomplishment. The incumbent regional student representative is ineligible. So you can get the customized plaque, a digital certificate, and 3 years of complimentary membership in IEEE. So this year, no changes. So you can check the website as well. So next month, Regional Outstanding Student Branch Award. So eligibility is you have to submit all 5 required items of documentation and at least 12 additional items of documentation. But we have some changes. So added new additional documents, and 2 endorsements are required for this award. So you can get the customized certificate attesting to the exemplary operation of the student branch. So next, a lot of awards. So, Outstanding Branch Counselor or Advisor Award. Past winners are ineligible for re-nomination for 4-year period. So our techs are also ineligible during the term of office. So we have some changes. I still focus on top 5 achievements of the counselor advisor in relation to the student group. The prize, winner and student branch will receive US $150 cash award each and a personalized certificate. So this is the last award, the R10 Student Activity Award. All IEEE student branches, student branch chapters, student branch affinity groups of women in engineering are eligible for this award program. We have some changes for this year. The maximum of 2 submissions for the whole branch. So you have to check the number of submissions. And as prize, you can get digital certificate. Platinum winners will receive a plaque. So this is the statistics of the student award submissions from 2013 to last year. So number of submissions are increasing. And this is the student awards submission breakup by region for 2020. So this is very interesting, and we can find out 78% of our submissions come from Region 10 and our Region 10, Region 8 and our Region 10. I'm so glad to see a lot of submissions from our Region 10. And then you can check the students' awards results on the website. This is some example of the award recipients. So you can visit the website and then you can check some winners on the web. MGA have this page. So you can change the year, region, award name. So you can see many award winners. Please visit the website. And this is a timeline for MGA Global Student Award this year. So these awards are under MGA committee. The call for nominations starts already started. So you can check the website. And the closing date is end of March. Judging period is until end of June. And the processing of awards and announcement of results is before 30 September this year. Improvements and updates for next IEEE Student Award should be during Q4. And this is the slide from MGA committee. And then this is very good message. If someone nominates you for an award, or if you consider yourself eligible to apply, it's an award in itself. This is from 2013 Student Award Chair, MGA Student Activities Committee. So I know you are very busy, and then it's very tiring to make the documents. But please feel free to apply your documents. So we will be waiting for your submissions. And then if you have some questions, you can send the email to our Region 10 Student Activity Committee and IEEE Student Awards Team. So you can see the emails here. And the very important informations are on the website. So we have Region 10 SAC website. Please visit the award site. Very important information are there. And you can submit your applications through the web. Okay. And then now still under construction of this year, for this year, but we are soon to update the information. If you want to submit the application to MGA Award, please visit the MGA website. Also, we have Student Award website, Student IEEE Awards. You can visit the website and then you can submit the applications. So this is the end of my talk. So we still have 3 minutes, but I return to you, Christian.
All right. Thank you so much for that very informative talk, Dr. Mamiko Inamori-san. Arigato gozaimasu. And let's give her a virtual round of applause. All right. So I know our participants have a lot of questions in. Okay. So thank you very much for your patience, to our attendees. Well, at this point in time, I'm delighted to meet our next speaker. To know more about him, I'd like to give the chance to Miss Waruniku Hipola, the R10 Student Representative.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Thank you very much, Ian. So, Dr. Subodha Charles is a faculty member at the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering, University of Moratuwa, Sri Lanka. He received his PhD in computer science from the University of Florida and his BSc specializing in electronics and telecommunication engineering from University of Moratuwa, Sri Lanka. Dr. Subodha has also co-founded a company in Sri Lanka operating in the energy sector in 2013, and it is currently one of the country's market leaders. He has volunteered for IEEE since 2011 and has held several global initiatives within IEEE. Several international awards recognized his efforts, including IEEE R10 Larry K. Wilson Award in 2015 and IEEE MGA Young Professionals Achievement Award in 2019. So it is my honor to invite Dr. Subodha Charles to IEEE Region 10 webinar on IEEE R10 SAC Awards and MGA Student Awards. Over to you, Dr. Subodha.
Thank you for the kind introduction, Veronica. Am I audible? Is my line clear?
Yes, Dr.
Thank you. Thank you. Right. Veronica, will you be able to share the slides? I apologize. I'm on the move right now, so I connected through my phone, unable to share the slides from my side. Perfect.
Yes,
Thank
our
you.
team will check. Yes.
Thank you very much. And sorry for the inconvenience. I should have shared it myself, but unable to do so right now. Okay. I'm glad to be here. It's been a while since I was a part of Region 10. I was a part of Sri Lanka section, and I also held a couple of positions within the region as well a few years ago. But like Veronica mentioned, I moved to Region 3 to pursue my graduate studies. So it's been a while since I was involved in Region 10 event. I'm so glad to be here, and I've seen that the Region 10 is organizing so many events and doing pretty well, inspiring all the volunteers in Region 10. So kudos to the team and the excellent work that you guys are doing. So I'll give some tips with my experience. I applied for the Larry K. Wilson Award in 2015, and then in 2019 I applied for the MGA Young Professionals Achievement Award, both of which I was lucky enough to win in those 2 years. So with that experience, I'll give some tips about how to write the application and some guidance for you as much as I can. So this is just my perspective. I would encourage you to talk to other award winners as well, so that you can get some more insights as to how they submitted a successful application. I'll move on to the next slide, in which I have a couple of tips. Is someone sharing the slides? I cannot see it. I'm sorry about that.
Sir, it's visible, sir.
Okay, perfect. All good then. Right. So it's showing the slide that says tips, right? Why is your nomination unique?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. So a couple of tips. First and foremost, the award evaluators will get so many applications. It's not just your application that is received by them. So you have to think what makes your nomination stand out from the rest of the applications. Why do you deserve to win this award above anyone else within the region? What have you done? So you have to justify that in your application. That is my tip number 1 for you. So without stopping by just giving you a tip, I'll give you some examples from my applications so that you have a case study. I'll come to that in a few slides. But for now, keep in mind that you have to add something unique that makes you stand out above everyone else. Well, of course, you cannot see the other people's applications, so you cannot compare with them, of course. But you have to think, what makes my application unique? What can I write to make it unique? Of course, you cannot write something that you didn't do, but out of the things that you do, that you did, what can you highlight as something that made a major impact on the activities either within the section or the region. So that's my tip number 1. And the next one, it's always good to include a personal touch. So especially this is applicable.
Yeah, Dr. Subodha,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We have a very little problem in the slide. So
Okay.
you'll see the title slide. So from our team, if it's better, we can look into that.
Right, I'm on slide number 2 right now.
Yes, but what we see is the first slide.
I can wait. Oh, I can. Well, I don't really have a lot of things on the slide, so I can just speak without using them if there's a technical difficulty.
Sir, can I share on your behalf?
Yes, Christian. Sorry, I didn't get who was speaking. I'm not sharing anything.
So,
If
okay,
somebody
sir.
can share on my behalf, that'd be
It's
perfect.
Prashant.
Sorry,
I'll share
Prashant, please go ahead.
Can you please share it?
Yeah, sir, I'll do it. And can you please give me the presentation access?
Share the screen now.
I hope the slides is visible now.
Yes, the first slide.
Yes.
Yeah, it's correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Perfect.
Sorry, Dr.
Thank you.
Subodha, you can continue.
No problem. I should apologize for putting that on you. Thank you. Right. So like I was mentioning, I'm not going to touch on this again. You have to make sure that your nomination is unique. So I already touched on that. And the next one is try to include a personal touch. What I mean by that is, especially you have to submit some endorsement letters for some awards. And when you do that, make sure that the person who's endorsing you adds a personal touch to explain how are they connected. I'll get to that in a second. How does the endorser know you? You should clearly mention that. I'll get to that in a couple of slides. But mainly what I mean here by including a personal touch is if the nominator is a third person, as in it's not a self-nomination, someone else is nominating you. In that case, try to add something that from the other person's perspective, why do you think that this person should get this award? How has that person inspired you? That can help the evaluators understand the nominator's perspective as well. And the third point, research the history of the award. If possible, try to look at the applications or at least the accomplishments that enable the award winners to get those awards. What have they done? So then you can frame what you have done in those languages and in that tone as well. And the main thing I would emphasize is when you do some activity and then you're submitting that for an award, you have to emphasize how things were before you conducted that activity, what did you do, and the impact that happened from your activity. Because that's what matters, right? Because if you do something very small where the impact is quite low, the evaluators might not look at it in a positive manner. So then focusing on how things were before the activity, what you did, and the impact that happened afterwards is quite important. So make sure you touch on that when you are pitching whatever the event that you organized or whatever initiative that you carried out in your local IEEE or regional section, local section or the region, when you are submitting the award application. What was the impact? You should always keep asking that question. So I'm again repeating the same thing because this is quite important. This is how you should frame your award application. I'll give you, as I said, a couple of case studies. What is the impact I have made? So these are similar questions that is trying to answer the same thing, but different perspectives from which you can think about when you're writing the application. What impact have I made? How has my contributions made a difference? Which aspect of IEEE is better off after my contributions? So try to write your nomination that in a way such that the nomination touches on those questions. You of course do not have to write these questions and write answers for these. What impact have I made? How has my contributions? Don't do that. But when you're writing the paragraph, make sure your answer whatever you pick up. Just to make sure. Okay.
You're audible, sir.
Okay. Perfect. Thing. Try to. Can you move to the next slide? With questions to think about accomplishments. Yes. So this is the same thing I said before. Try to touch on questions when writing a board application. Next slide. Well, I have not read the book, but when I was preparing the slides for this, I saw this book and I thought the cover is a a good example as to what you should do. You should basically brag, know the art of tooting your own horn without blowing it. So I thought that's a good analogy to say what you have to do. Next slide. So when you're submitting the endorsements, ask the endorser to tell the story, the write-up. It's always good to send your award application to the endorser and then ask the endorser to complement that. Because if you guys talk about, if the endorser and you talk about two completely different things, it might appear disjoint. The endorser should basically support whatever you're writing in your application, whatever you or the nominator is writing in your application. So now you cannot write the same thing. The endorser has to tell your story from a different perspective, because now the endorser has the overview. He has seen other activities, he has seen other volunteers, he or she has seen other activities, volunteers. Then he or she can, I'm not saying the endorser has to compare with other people, but the person can write something general, like I volunteered for this long, and out of the volunteers I have seen, this person is an exceptional character. So that's an indirect comparison. You are not directly comparing yourself with someone else, but highlighting your achievements as a whole. So that's what I mean by tell your story from a different perspective. And ask the endorser to add a personal touch. Because if the endorser is not very familiar with what you have done, then the evaluator might feel, okay, this guy doesn't even know who's endorsing, so it doesn't really add a lot of weight. But if the endorser tells upfront in the endorsement, I know this person from this long, I have worked with him very closely, so then the endorser is actually eligible to write an endorsement about you. That message should be clear in your endorsement letters as well. And finally, like I said, try to contrast your contributions to others he or she has seen and highlight why yours is unique. So this is the endorser's perspective. Try to give these instructions to the endorser so that when the letter comes in, that nicely complements what you have written in your awards application. So those are my couple of tips for you. Well, the theory part. I'll get more into some the practical part or the hands-on part with a couple of case studies as to explaining how I submitted my application. So what I mean by case studies is they are basically events that we conducted when I was submitting for the Larry K. Wilson in 2015, and how I wrote that in the application. I'll go to the next slide. So the first case study is a competition that we organized for school students in Sri Lanka. So this is similar to IEEE Extreme. IEEE Extreme is mainly targeting university students, but this one is targeting high school and middle school students. For those who are not familiar with the words high school and middle school, they are basically grades 6 to 12. So we targeted Sri Lankan schools for this. So what we did was we started advertising this. We sent letters to the schools. We basically sent letters to schools all over the country. Well, Sri Lanka is a small country, so we can send letters to the entire country, unlike a country like India, which is huge. But in our case, we informed all the schools, and we told that, okay, we are from the University of Moratuwa. We are organizing this event. Before the competition, we have a series of workshops. So this is we did the workshops about 2 months before we had the competition. Then the idea was to motivate the students to learn a bit of programming and also to polish the skills of people who already know programming. Then after the workshops, two months after the workshops, we have the competition. So the competition was similar to IEEE Extreme. Participants came to the university, similar to IEEE Extreme. We booked the computer labs, we arranged all the logistics for them, and they coded for 6 hours. Unlike IEEE Extreme that goes to 24 hours, I was my line got disconnected again. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, so unlike IEEE Extreme, which spans for 24 hours, our competition span for 6 hours. And this is for school students. So we got a lot of responses. Lot of teams took part. I think we had about 75 to 80 people. Among the school students, we believe that's a huge achievement because most of the school students are not even familiar with programming. They are focusing on other subjects, but we were quite happy with the response that we got. So the way I wrote this in my application, this was one of the points that I touched on when writing my application. I'm going to read from my application. So this is written in third person. Somebody else nominated me. And it goes as, during his time, that's referring to me, his time as the secretary of the student branch organized the first ever school programming competition in the country. He worked as the project chair leading the event. Several workshops were held island-wide to teach school students about programming prior to the competition. Tutorials and sample questions were made available online for participants as resources. The competition spanned for 6 hours with students from all around the country taking part. The event was a huge success and it will be an annual event in the student branch calendar. So that's another thing I want to highlight. Whatever you have done, if you have made a plan to make that event sustainable, that is looked at in a positive manner. Because not only you have done something, but the event is now continuing throughout the years. And even to date, our student branch is carrying out that competition. It has evolved into something much bigger than what we initiated, but the sustainability part is ensured. So that's another thing that you can highlight. If you have done something and it's carried on, that makes sure that you have made a lasting impact on your student branch and on your community. Moving on to case study number 2. Next slide. Yes, so this is in 2015. This is by the time where the Larry K submissions came in as well. We submitted a proposal to host the Region 10 Congress in Sri Lanka. So this is around 2000, I believe end of 2014. Yeah, in the screenshot you can see November 11, 2014. We submitted a proposal to host the Region 10 Congress in Sri Lanka. And we got that Congress. We actually won I don't know whether I can call it a bidding process, but our application got accepted by the region and we were approved to hold the Region 10 Congress in Colombo in July the following year, that is 2015. So I highlighted this in the application as well. I was the secretary of the Congress. So it was a huge task. I was in my final year in the university back then. We had about 350 people coming to Sri Lanka for the Congress. If you can go to the next slide, I have a few pictures from that. So writing the proposal, getting the event to Sri Lanka, and then organizing a regional level event is what I highlighted in the awards application. So it went for three days. Even the IEEE President and CEO came all the way to Sri Lanka. And the Region 10 director, of course, all the Region 10 executive committee members, including those, we had a total number of delegates of about 350 people for a 3-day conference. And it was organized by a group of us, and I was the secretary of that organizing committee. Next slide has a picture that I like very much. So for no particular reason, I thought I'll show that to you. That's the group photo we took at the end of the event. You can see a lot of people. There might be familiar faces for you as well. There are people from all over Region 10 in this picture. So before I wrap up, a couple of more tips as to how to write the application. So during the same time, I was the sectional student representative of the Sri Lanka section. So that also I mentioned in the awards application. But I thought I'll get an example from the recently submitted Young Professionals Achievement Award because that's a more recent submission and I think I have improved in my writing as well. So I thought I'll give some tips from that application. That was just 2 years ago. This was again nominated by a third person, Chanaka Hettige, who's a good friend of mine. He basically submitted the nomination and what I wrote was, so this is what I mean by the personal touch. So here's an example. So this is Chanaka talking about me in the awards application. So he says, I first met Subodha in person at the Region 10 Congress 2015 held in Colombo, Sri Lanka. I got to work with him closely in 2017 when he was putting together a team to execute a new initiative he had in mind called IEEE Innovation Nation. Since then, we have worked together closely in various capacities and currently serving together in the IEEE Entrepreneurship Steering Committee. He has been quite an influential character in the section and also a mentor to me as well. As I see it, the main quality that allowed Subodha to significantly contribute to IEEE is that he has always tried to come up with new initiatives wherever he noticed something was lacking. His efforts have significantly contributed to enhancing the IEEE member experience, especially for students and young professionals in the Sri Lanka section. Specifically, the following contributions made by Subodha have helped increase member engagement, membership numbers, and collaboration between members as well as IEEE organization units in Sri Lanka section. So this is about my time as the sectional student representative. I'll read out one more paragraph. He was elected as the first ever sectional student representative of the section among more than 750 student members in 2014, and he continued that work as the Student Activities Committee Chair in 2016. During my tenure as the SAC Chair of IEEE Sri Lanka section in 2019, he advised me that within quotation marks, so he's quoting something that I told him, within quotation marks, developing a strong cohort of proven student and YP leaders is the key to sustaining in the long run. When we build a team, these young members will create the programs that will support a vibrant and attractive IEEE brand and help attract new leaders, attract new members while retaining the existing members. This will go on as a positive cycle. Us as volunteer leaders should ensure that we facilitate the process, support them, and start projects that can make an impact, making the young members proud to be IEEE members. So that's what I mean by the personal touch. So if I know there's a word limit and the number of character limit, if it is possible, if there's a field that is asking for that question, it's good to talk about what you have done from the perspective of a third person, right? So I think I gave some tips as to how to write this. Oh, and by the way, another thing that I missed mentioning, if you listen carefully in that paragraph, I had added some numbers. I said selected as a student representative among more than 750 student members. So it's always good to quantify some of your achievements whenever possible. For example, if you organized the event and in a certain year you got some number of submissions, next year with your contributions, did the number of submissions grow? For example, if you can say with your leadership, the number of submissions grew by 200%. That's twice the number of submissions compared to last year. So that is a quantifiable impact that you have made. So try to add numbers wherever possible. Like I said, try to add a personal touch. Make sure that whatever you are writing is unique. Try to frame it that way, because it's doing something and also writing that effectively. It's an art in a way. So make sure if you're not really good at it, you can maybe get some help from your friends, colleagues who are good at writing. Because even if you have done something, if you cannot put it in a good way, the evaluators might not get the idea that you're trying to convey. So it's all about writing that effectively. So make sure you do that. I'll stop at that and leave for any questions. Next slide has thank you. So I'll say that, yeah, okay, there you go. Thank you, and happy volunteering, and I wrote happy in the IEEE way, and good luck to everyone who's submitting the applications. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Subodha Charles, for sharing your personal experiences and best practices in joining and, of course, winning the MGA Student as well as Young Professional Awards. And yeah, now we will proceed immediately to the question and answer portion. But we don't actually see some questions here. Maybe our participants are still shy to ask questions. But I have a question, Dr. Charles. How does the SAC award benefit you as a student during the time?
Yes. So it actually helped me a lot, because especially once you win the award and then you are applying for other volunteer positions, they look at that in a very positive manner, especially because Region 10 is quite active. Winning an award in Region 10 is looked at it in a very positive manner. So when you are submitting another application for some volunteer position, let's say, for example, you are submitting an application for a MGA, Student Activities Committee position, then people look at it in a very positive manner, because this is proof that you have done something impactful within your region as a student volunteer. So that's number one. And the other benefits, they are not really tangible, but whenever you are talking to someone, that recognition, people know you, people know your name. I wouldn't say everyone, but at least some people. That helps within your IEEE work as well. So it basically gives you some credibility to say that you are a proven volunteer. That's the positive feedback that I got after the award.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do we have other questions from our participants? Don't be shy. Please type in your answers, and our speakers will be answering your questions. Also, Dr. Mami is still here with us. So if you have any questions regarding the criteria, regarding the application for the nomination for the awards, Dr. Mamiko is still here. But as she, yeah.
Okay, we got a question in the Q&A chat. Can you see question? So
Yeah, I cannot see actually. Do you see it, Dr. Mamiko?
yeah, and then the question is about the Outstanding Branch Counselor Award. So he's asking if we need to collect a letter of endorsement from our endorser, or will they be asked for the same via email? So sorry, this is not under Vision 10, but they need you need to provide the endorsement letter, and then you have to upload in the link. Okay? So the endorsement letter should be from the chair or officer. And then the name and email will be contacted. So is it the right answer? Do you understand? And then you can also ask the MGA committee member, make sure the right submission. But you need the endorsement letter and then upload, please. Is it okay?
Yep.
Okay. You understand?
Okay. Yeah, thank you again, Dr. Mamiko Mori-san. For those students, since we don't see any questions anymore, if you have questions, please feel free to message us using our social media accounts. You can follow IEEE R10 Student Activities Committee and drop us a message if you have any questions. And then our email address and our Twitter account, Instagram accounts, and our LinkedIn account is also available through the poster, so you can try to search it and follow it. And once again, thank you for those who participated in the question and answer.
Sir, there's a question, sir.
Yeah, I cannot see it. Maybe it's
Directed to the host. The question are there, sir.
Yeah. Can you read it, Prashant?
The question is R10 accepting application for R10 Student Awards?
Sorry.
Is R10 accepting application for R10 Student Awards?
Yeah, R10 Student Volunteer Award and then Student Branch Outstanding. R10 only have 2 awards. Yeah, and then the Outstanding Student Branch Award and then Outstanding Volunteer Award. That's it. Only 2.
Yeah, so that's clear. I hope that's clear. We only have 2 awards again for R10. The Outstanding Branch and the Outstanding Volunteer Awards.
Ma'am, there is a question, ma'am. One more question. Just to understand the competition, what kind of activities should have been conducted by a student branch to serve better potential in getting the award? I repeat, what kind of activities should
Yeah.
have been conducted by a student branch to serve potential in getting the award?
What kind of event?
Yeah.
Any event. You have to clearly mention like the event itself. Any project, any event. Yeah, you can just put in. No
Ma'am,
limitation.
there is another question, ma'am. Is there any award for any outstanding event?
Yeah, I see the question and answer. Here. No, sorry. We don't have any award this year. Well, we can consider for future award. So I'm sorry, we don't have any. Just outstanding event itself.
Is there any limit for applications from section for region awards? Is there any limit for applications?
Limits? We don't have any limits, but we have nomination conditions. So yeah. So we don't have any limitation. Yeah. Yes, I think. Yeah. And then you can check the nomination conditions. Yeah, carefully, please.
Ma'am, there's another question, ma'am.
Mm.
Referring to SAC SB award, why only once in 5 years? It is not fair for new committees of SBs not to win while deserving, but just because previously won. I suggest reducing to 2 or 3 maximum. Should I repeat, ma'am? By referring to SAC SB award, why not once in 5 years? It is not fair for new committees of SBs not to win while deserving, but because previously won. I suggest reducing to 2 or 3 years maximum.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, we will consider. Yeah.
Ma'am, there is another question, ma'am. Instead of IEEE R10 SAC Outstanding Volunteer, why can't you introduce IEEE R10 SAC Student Volunteer Award 2 for this year?
Repeat again. Sorry.
Okay. Instead of having the IEEE R10 SAC Outstanding Volunteer Award, why can't you introduce even R10 SAC Outstanding Student Volunteer Award?
R10 Student Volunteer Award. Oh yeah, we don't have any Student Volunteer Award this year. Only 2.
They're asking for the recommendation, ma'am. Suggestion.
If I answer the question.
Thank you.
Okay. The reason why the Outstanding Student Volunteer Award was removed in the awards for Region 10, it's because it is already being offered by MGA, so there will be a duplication in the Outstanding Student Awards, Outstanding Student Volunteer Awards.
And we are done with the Q&A, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you, Christian.
All right. Thank you so much for those who participated in our question and answer. As much as we want to answer all your questions, but we have limited time, so we're going to conclude the activity. But before that, as part of our appreciation, we'd like to award a digital token of appreciation to our speakers for their valuable contribution in this event. So let us share this token of appreciation. Allow me to read the content. On behalf of the IEEE Region 10 SAC 2021, we wanted to express our appreciation to Dr. Mamiko Inamori for sparing valuable time as
Thank you. Thank you very much.
a round of applause to Dr. Mamiko. Yes, thank you again. And of course, for our second speaker, while Prashant is sharing the token of appreciation to our second speaker, yeah, so allow me to read again. So on behalf of IEEE Region 10, SAC 2021, we wanted to thank or to express our appreciation to Dr. Suboda Charles for sparing valuable time as a speaker during the webinar of Introduction to IEEE Region 10 SAC and MGA Student Awards on 20th February 2021. Once again, thank you for making the webinar successful, and we appreciate also your continued support. So we hope to see you again in our future activities, Dr. Suboda Charles, and of course, Dr. Mamiko Inamori as part of the Region 10 SAC committee this year. Okay, so before we wrap up this activity, allow me to thank the following people who have made this event possible. First, thank you to our dear speakers, Dr. Mamiko and Dr. Suboda, for sharing their precious time with us. Moreover, this event would not succeed without the support and guidance of our chair, Dr. Jennifer De La Cruz, and our student representative, Ms. Waronica. Also to my fellow training and webinar coordinators, Ain and Prashant, who tirelessly worked since the preparation up to the actual day of this event. To the entire SAC committee for their support, from the publicity team, to our very talented graphic artist, Avishka. Words are really not enough to express how grateful I am for this, for the success of this event. And most especially to our participants today who made this event even more possible. Thank you so much for your attendance. And again, we assure you that this is not the last. Okay, this is the first of the many, and we're looking forward to seeing you all in our future virtual events. And please don't forget to follow our social media accounts to keep you posted.